begin. And it's only after asking how we began that we can be able to know how then we can cure the dying fires. Petrol? Did we use diesel? And so the formula that was used at that time ought to be the same formula that is going to be used to help rekindle. It's not a kind of like a rocket science, which is beyond your reach. By the way, it is right there. It is just between the two of you. It's between you as the the one very major thing that we may want to ask ourselves is, if we got into it by this and now we are not able to get back to where we were, it means you know how you got there. So don't forget that. Just rethink, ask yourself, what was the formula? And you'll get those three things that I have mentioned. One, there was much time given. Number two, there was much effort in it. You would be rained on. For those of us who come from the village sides, you remember you would walk long distances to go and meet this girl and stay there. You would be rained on. You would go through the scorching heat of the sun, and you beat all the odds. She would say, I'm coming at 2, but you will wait until 7 in the evening. That's when she appears. And all these things, there was much effort. You'd never give up. But now that you are married, something crops up, destabilizes you, and blows off the candle, and then you give up. You say, I'm not going to work on these. Now, let me tell you, if we do not invest money, we do not invest time and effort in our marriages, you will invest more time, you will invest more money, and you'll invest more effort in just making sure that you are able to bring it back. You will spend more money on counseling because it's not for free. You will spend more money on divorce lawyers to work out your story. You will spend more time on court costs. You will spend more money and more effort on spouse and child support in the event that you do not do the three things that we have just mentioned. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this, that you stay together, and when you stay together, after some time, you discover that the fires grow cold. When the fires grow cold or simply blown off, you no longer feel the way you used to feel. You no longer have the urge that you used to have about him or her. You don't feel like they are even, if you're a man, you don't feel like she's a woman. If you're a woman, you don't feel like he's a man. You can go to bed and sleep and face on the wall and face the other side, east and west, and forget about each other, and sleep in the morning and jump out of bed and go to work and come back, and life goes on. You cannot talk to each other. There's no communication. They need school fees or maybe cows, and that becomes the only communication amongst or between the two of you. Then at that time, your spouse stops being the most important person in your life. You get some other people you can share with. You get some other people you can confide in, because your spouse is not that person. As a matter of fact, you don't long to come back home. You don't wish you want to be anywhere close home, close to her or close to him, because when you come home, it is a court. You are coming to a court session. Then this time, your relationship as a marriage relationship stops being the thing that needs your maximum attention. You begin attending to your work much more than you attend, in fact, more to your cows and chicken than the relationship between you and your spouse. Then, of course, familiarity breeds contempt. You get to a place where you see, you're so much used to her, you cannot see anything good in her, you cannot see anything good in him, and life goes paralyzed. The fires are dead completely. This opens the floodgates of many issues. And some of these things will be financial challenges. You can no longer know who has what. You get to a place where you have challenges in terms of your sexual life. You get to a problem where you cannot discuss, even children discipline lacks, and the whole family simply grinds to a halt. Now, let me remind us, even as we proceed, that the difference between successful and failed marriages is not about the presence or absence of problems. To one couple, what you consider a problem is something they celebrate. To another couple, what is celebrated in another couple becomes something else. And this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, that sometimes you wonder, you look at it and you wonder why in this home they celebrate this, but in this other home it is war. So the problem is not absence or presence of problems. It is not absence or presence of money. It's not absence or presence of infidelity. It has nothing to do with all those things, because all those things are only mere reflections of a problem, a deep-seated problem that is in the home. It lies, rather, success or failure of a marriage is so much pegged on the ability of one of the couples to stand up and admit that, look here, guys, we have a problem that we need to sort out. In other words, it is all about the ability of one to own it up and say, man, we have a problem. Can we try to find a way? Can we find a solution to this problem? And this is the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. In this clinic, I would like to let us know that whenever the fires die, there are two things that characterize a marriage where two individuals are there. Two things characterize a relationship whose fires are dead. One is anger and hatred. Anger and hatred. And you will discover that the same passion and the intensity of love that you had for the other, especially in a marriage setup, sometimes tends to be in equal measure of the intensity of the hatred and the anger you meet on the other person or on your spouse. And so anger and hatred is one of the chief characteristics of a dying fire or of a marriage whose fire is dead. And the second one is the laws of interest in marriage and one another. You are so much used to each other. She doesn't mean anything. Let me stop here and ask you a question. It is true that as you listen to me, as you hear these things, as you watch me, you know that probably you are at that stage. The fires are dead. But one thing that is also going on is, while you do not value your spouse, I do not know whether you know that there is somebody somewhere who is dying for that husband that you have decided to give a back to. I do not know whether you are aware that that particular wife that you have, because of familiarity breeds contempt. You are so much familiar with her, you see nothing. Even her own physiology, you do not appreciate. Her complexion of the skin, you do not. The figure of her body, you do not. Do you know somebody? There are some men somewhere who are dying for her. And given a chance, they would take her even right now. Did you know that? And to some of us watching, you are also aware that even as we listen, while you are tired, you're so familiar with your spouse. Did you know very well, ladies and gentlemen, that it could be because you are having an attachment, your affectionate has been shared between your spouse and another person, and that is the reason why you probably are so familiar with her or with him. Having said that, remember, serious people who have made investments like the one you have made. You have invested in this marriage. You have put in time. Right now, some of you are 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and you're still struggling and you want to throw it up. It simply means you're not wise. Because in business, you cannot invest into something so much time and effort and money, and then you get to a place where you do not want to get there. I mean, it doesn't make sense, my friends. You just want to do something. You want to ensure, you want to make it a point. You just want to make sure that at least, for whatever reason, you are saving your investment. You have saved, you have put in your emotional involvement in this particular person. You have, and then you want to simply call it quits because of a few problems when in other homes they can celebrate. No, my friends, it pains to hear simply because the fires are dead and people think that when we have gotten here, it is repairable and we cannot make it. You can make it. For your information, there is no marriage under the blue sky that has not gone through the experience you are going through. If you are probably 5 years and above, what you are going through, everyone has gone through. If you are 3 years and above, everyone has gone through what you are going through. It's a stage. The fires must die for you to learn to rekindle them. It is a stage, just like adolescence. You get to a level of familiarity, then learn to get off the stage of familiarity and appreciate one another as a special and priceless gift that heaven has given to you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say a few things here. What are we supposed to do? Now, before you turn to your spouse, thinking that she's or he is the cause, turn to God first. In other words, before struggling and whining and complaining and losing much of strength and loss of sleep and energy, turn yourself first to God. Tell God, God, there is a problem here. I could be the cause in one way or another. And now, God, I'm looking for a solution. Turn your heart to God first. And after you turn to God first, number 2, resolve your anger and hatred. How do I resolve my anger? How do I resolve my hatred towards this guy? I've stayed with him and with her, and I feel so bad. I feel like just killing her. I feel I wish I even never got married to her or to him. I wish we never even began this journey. These are the feelings that you are having. That is okay. That is okay. The question now we are asking ourselves is, how do you resolve this anger and hatred? Now, remember, anger and hatred will always be there when a relationship is not working. So, one thing that you need to do is admit. Ladies and gentlemen, admission is not weakness. Just admit. Just admit. Admit and say, yes, I have this problem. Admit and say, I have this weakness. I have this challenge. I'm not able to make it. I have this, I've seen it. I feel so angry with you. I feel I hate you. In fact, I would be very happy if my wife told me out of what she's going through, and she tells me, honey, I hate you. I'm angry. I will feel good, because when she speaks it out, she heals. And when she speaks it out too, it is one way of resolving it than swallowing it from within. So admit that you have a problem. Tell your spouse, honey, I think we have a problem. We have a problem and we need to find a solution. Because when you do that, you're more safe. Number two, when you are sharing this thing, do not sit on one side of the couch and face one direction. You sit across the table. Face each other. Face each other. In other words, you need to look at each other, at one another. Make sure that you maintain close physical contact. And more importantly, your eye contact. Your eye contact. Now, the eye contact, in this eye, something that is very unique. Something that is very unique is that when you have this eye contact, it will give you a chance and an opportunity. There will be a chance and an opportunity where you have the power to remember, like first impression that you had. You will be able to feel the person. You can remember those good olden days, the sweet 16 moments, the moments when this particular lady or gentleman was young enough and innocent days. You will see that is what is captured in your eye. Eye contact will help you to be more reasonable, to treat one another with some dignity and respect and honor. Eye contact will help you flash back the olden days when you are starting this relationship, and you are likely to be more kind, to be more understanding, and to be more patient with one another. When you sit there, be humble. Be humble, my friend. It doesn't cost you. As a matter of fact, you are not going to lose anything. You will remain the same person. You will remain the same person. You will remain the same person. You'll remain the same individual. You'll be the same lady. You'll be the same gentleman.